All right, good morning, TGO members. Welcome to our weekly debrief. What a week it's been. Seems like we say that every Thursday. And officially, today is the day that capitalism died. You will remember this day for the rest of your life. This literally is it for this country and capitalism. With what the Federal Reserve is doing, completely outside of their mandate and their charter, and it's absolute insanity. And remember, whenever I say something's absolutely insane, you shouldn't be doing anything at all. I think for the past 2 weeks, every brief and throughout every brief, I've reminded everybody, do not trade this. The easy money has been made, and to sit on your hands and don't do anything. So as we get close to the close today, I'm going. Well, we'll talk specifically, but I'm going probably 75, 80% cash and some disaster puts, and that's it. It's over with for now. In these markets. If you look at historically, first of all, macroeconomically, I've never seen this before. There's a 100% chance we're in a recession. Well, probably a recession in 12 months. We're already in it. And I'm probably going to say there's a 100% chance we go into a depression. But I have to say this over and over again until you learn it and you learn how to say it to other people. The stock market is not the economy, not even close, as you saw this morning. Within seconds of announcing 6 million people out of work additional, the Fed, within 2 seconds, announced what they were doing. So you want to talk about market manipulation? You're looking at it. Right. So, and Mark over in the Afterburner group sent a great picture because I was going to say this right now. Let me go look. Let's go look at this first. What have we done? Everybody take a look at that chart and tell me exactly what we've done. Okay. Yeah, well, we'll talk about JP Morgan left. Of course, the mindset's changed. My commit criteria this morning for every trade got blown out of the water by the Federal Reserve. So implosion and this is the W, guys, but look at where we are. We have literally filled 2,800 is half the gap. That's why we're up there. Exactly, Bob. A 50% retracement like this is a bear market rally. So I'm telling you right now, folks, if you buy, you know what? It is the all clear and the Fed's jumping in. You will be buying at the highs. There is no way. I'm thrilled about New York only having 800 people die today. Oh, and by the way, just on a personal note, because this, folks, it's hitting home. I shared 2 very close friends yesterday. A friend of mine, she's a waitress in a restaurant in Delray Beach, Brazilian restaurant. We're trying to learn English. Her parents flew up here from Brazil 3 weeks ago. Her dad died about 3 days ago from COVID here in America. Dead. She doesn't. I probably gonna help her out with. She came in. First of all, she's horrible at English, and her mom and dad flew up to visit her, and he died 3 days ago. And another friend, her mom, 2 days ago, up in New Jersey, tested positive. She dropped dead at 12:02 yesterday morning. This is a text from my mom this morning. The operation was declined. They are appealing for 2 weeks from now. That failing, I will do another round of chemo. So the chemo was fantastic. It worked. 3 rounds of chemo. We're going to schedule surgery for you, and everything will be great. Denied. So it's hitting home to me, folks. I don't know if it's hitting home to you. So they denied my mom's cancer operation in New York because they have closer alligators to the boat. So remember, behind every one of these numbers is a person, is a human being. And it's bad. It's absolutely bad. This poor girl, her dad, she's like, I don't even know where they put him. I'm like, oh my God, you can't. What are they going to fly? They can't fly the body back to Brazil. It's absolutely insanity. So what am I getting at? This market right now, folks, is completely separated from reality. Do not trade. Do not do anything until we get confirmation of a direction. I'm going to tell you in a couple minutes what happened yesterday to a friend of mine who a quarter to maybe half their firm blew out. Why? Because of algos pushing things around right now. This is war, folks. We are literally at war in the financial markets. You're telling me people are buying stocks now because they're bearish, because we're going to be in a depression? No. So we're going to talk through all these issues. Let me start with this one first. So again, I'm going to brief you on this, and I know somebody who was involved in this yesterday. S&P future surged 20 points in one tick on a 2 billion market on close buy imbalance, folks. Have you noticed the last half an hour of trading and how insane? Look at this. $2.4 billion market on close. Do you want to know what happened? I know exactly what happened talking to my buddy. Everybody knows around 3:30 every afternoon, everything starts going crazy. I won't use any names, but I've seen this. I've maybe partaken in stuff like this. Hey, did you hear so-and-so down the street is short as shit? They just pounded this thing into the dirt and are short. Oh yeah? Get all our buddies on the phone. Okay, great. Let's short the shit out of the market right here. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, if you're short, so this guy who shorted the market is printing money, not firms. They're printing money, and then all of a sudden, some other folks come in and buy. The second the market starts going up a little bit, if you're short, you're losing money. And how do you get out of a short? You have to actually buy. So in this case, buying the S&P, so whoever was short had to buy the hell out of this to get out of their shorts, and it absolutely is insane. So the firm that did this is printing money right here, and just before market close, they get out of it. They dump everything, and then this is this is insanity. I hear it on the phone, folks. I get to eavesdrop in on this stuff. People got destroyed yesterday with this. These are big, massive billion-dollar firms that can do this, that can literally put people out of business. That's exactly what's going on. Look at that that hour chart. Does that look like investing to you? Does that look like something you can do? The answer, hold on, guys. Are you not seeing this? Hold on, let me show you. Here it is. So here we go, one more time, because you have to understand how this is working to know that you have zero chance in this type of trading market to make any money, period. I'm going to tell you again for the folks that aren't listening, because if you didn't listen, you deserve to lose money. I told you, if you don't know what, this was the easiest money ever made on God's green earth. And I said, this is going to be hard. This is going to be a W. Don't do it. Get smart during it. And then sometime out here, we're going to have that. Okay. Implosion, half the gap. 2,800, folks, is literally half the gap of this implosion. And this is a bear market rally. Everybody agrees. There's nobody bullish here, folks. We're done with all these stupid people on Fox and Business and CNBC, like all these nibblers. They're all broke. I'm talking about billion-dollar firms. So let me go through this again since you couldn't see my chart. That's my fault. This is yesterday afternoon. I literally last night, after calling this girl to see if I can help with, like, you can't even have a funeral. My God, I feel horrific for these people. Anyway, why did I say that? Because I had to talk my buddy down off literally a ledge, folks. You want to talk about 1928, 1929, dudes on Wall Street jumping out of windows? This might be happening. Got short going into the close, right? Last hour of trading. It's going to be a shit show. Remember that last hour of trading 2 days ago when we went from 970, like the Dow's up 970 to down? The market actually closed down. Well, some firms thought that was going to happen again, so they got short, right? And they started printing money. Oh yeah, this is freaking fantastic. I've been here, folks. I've been on the phone calls and I've seen the who? Somebody? Oh, really? Those guys are assholes. Yeah. Yeah. Get X, Y, and Z on the phone. Okay. Get their trading. Okay. Yep. Let's do it. Let's get long. Get in the S&P right now. Everything you got. Put every piece of coal in the engine room and let's buy this thing. And soon as the S&P starts going up, the firm that was short here is holy shit. How do you get out of a short? You have to buy. Buy. Oh my God, we're getting wiped out. Oh my God, get us out of this thing. And then with a couple minutes before the market closed, the firm that squeezed these guys dumped it all. Copy this screen and put it there and somewhere. Save this. This was epic. Lives were altered yesterday. This is it's not insanity, folks. It's insanity for you. I think this is fantastic. These are Gordon Gekko things. So if you're sitting there going, "Oh my God, why is it doing that?" or "Why is it doing this?" It's just not some little cute saying I made, folks. When I was writing my book and when I was on Wall Street, trading is combat. Do you think this firm who got short or the one that tries to squeeze them out care about each other? Oh my God, we drink with that guy, or we used to. We used to go to the Viagra Triangle and go to Gibson's and have steak together because we were both rich. I could give a shit about that guy, and I'm going to destroy him and his firm. This was absolute insanity. And look at that. Dumped it. This was a zero-sum game. One firm made billions of dollars, and one firm is lucky if they're still going to be operating today. Right? So this is absolute insanity what is going on in the markets. When you hear me say insanity, you should be doing nothing. And I can't give you trading advice. You can do whatever you want to do, man. I'm telling you, after today, that's it. We're waiting. I am waiting for direction. I am absolutely convinced we're having another leg down. We'll get to what the Fed's doing, but this is resistance right here. This 2,800 level, the call I was on today. First of all, everybody laughed. Within seconds of what was being reported, the Fed did what they did. We'll brief this in a second. Well, exactly, folks. Now, Gaten, this is not considered fall. This isn't market manipulation. That's. Hey, man. On our Afterburner thread, once we get it big enough, we get some more members over on the Afterburner team. Guess what we're going to do? We're going to move markets and illiquid names. It's absolutely legal. We've done this before at Top Gun Options, like in EWJ or EWZ sometimes in illiquid options. I never got it. I was supposed to see him out in Vegas, but the trip got canceled. I was going to talk to Dr. J. We hit the unusual options activity one day, so we can do it. But yeah, so no. This market is bipolar right now. It's either going to do that or that, and I'm a that guy. Because we'll get into why. Let's go through the brief. But I had to brief you on some of this market action because if it's not making sense to you, it's because you're not there. You're not in the front lines. I'm on the Squawk Box calls, listening to a bunch of this stuff and seeing it, but I mean, I'm not throwing billions of dollars around here, right? So this is another issue that's out there. This is another item that the president looks like an absolute fool for talking out of his ass. Trump forced by oil war into unthinkable push for higher prices. Did you see yesterday in his press? I didn't almost fall out of my chair. I laughed at the TV, and I'm like, of course. A month ago, you're welcome for low oil prices. It's a free tax cut. Nobody does this better than me. I know what I'm talking about. Low oil, fantastic. Yesterday, we need oil prices higher. Did anybody else laugh at his stupidity? We were right. So, folks, if we ever have cocktail parties again, sit there and laugh at people who go, "Wow, oil prices are low. It should be good for gasoline." Where's Nancy Scotch Pelosi calling the oil CEOs up on Capitol Hill to demand why oil prices are so low? How many times It's like almost once a year, Nancy and Chuck and the idiot Democrats haul these oil CEOs up to go, why is oil so high? You ever see them get hauled up there when it's low? Because stupid people don't understand supply and demand. Yeah, I can give you this link. This was insane, man. I'm telling you, guys. And a couple buddies in that firm, the one guy, his mom is sick. And he's like trying to, I'm like, dude, you gotta stop. He's like, I can't, Wiz. I'm like, Christ almighty, dude. And he got caught up in this. I'm heartbroken for the guy. Trust me, when you're working in a Wall Street firm, you are one trade away from literally getting walked out the door. It can always be worse. But this is, I feel professionally vindicated for this. Sitting at his press conference, watching him demand oil prices to be higher. I can't. And again, anytime on social media I criticize the president, the inverted Trump derangement syndrome people who were formerly friends of mine come out of the woodwork to rip me apart. And clearly they were never my friend. You think Saudi Arabia cares about the United States? You think Vladimir Putin, just like I've said 9/11 was masterful and what China's doing right now is spectacular, I use those adjectives as a military man and a strategic thinker. Vladimir Putin is brilliant. He's a human piece of shit, and I wish he would drop dead. That's me and that's me in my flight suit. Folks, I flying jets in the early 90s before Russia imploded, Soviet Union imploded. I was trained to kill these people. Mortal enemy. Now I think Vladimir Putin is fantastic. A couple weeks ago, oh my God, I can't believe the Supreme Court wants me to run for another presidency. You guys, you guys are nuts. But yeah, I will. Vladimir Putin spent 200 grand on Facebook ads, and we destroyed our country for 3 years. The guy's awesome. For him, awful for us. You think Saudi Arabia are on the phone right now? I think the call's going now, or they're meeting. You think they give a shit what's going on in the United States? As a matter of fact, after the dude chopped that guy up and burned him in acid, his henchman in Turkey, remember the world like, oh, he's a pariah. There was like a G20 summit a couple weeks later. Everybody ignored MBS, right? Except, did you remember these pictures? Vladimir Putin sat next to MBS. They high-fived each other. They gave each other a big hug. Does everybody remember those pictures? I briefed you on them. It cracks me up. Oh man. So this is insanity. Okay. It's funny. I was talking to Matthew yesterday. He was out surfing, as long as they socially distance. He's out surfing now, because he had a good point. He's like, "Hey, Dad, so these packs of like rat bike riders are like 2 inches away from each other's rear ends, and we're not allowed to go out in the ocean and surf. We're not even near each other. They are now, but yeah." That really cracks me up. These bike riders all over top of each other. Why am I bringing this up? Because he's like, down Fort Lauderdale, there's ships all over the place. I'm like, yeah, dude, they're empty. I mean, the cruise lines at this point are offering their floating petri dishes to be hospitals. But what am I getting at? Container lines, folks. There's blank sailings going on. Commerce is stopping. Copenhagen-based Sea Intelligence reported Monday that 212 sailings over the last 3 months had been canceled. You got to go through this. First of all, no country's like, hey, where'd you guys come from? Italy? Yeah, you can just stay anchored off of Fort Lauderdale for the next month. I mean, there is talk about that, using cruise ships, just filling them up with crude. So remember, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, the market is forward looking. So this was rebalancing right here and window dressing into the end of the quarter. This was reality. And then this is, hey, Governor Cuomo and Donald Trump said everything's great and they don't need ventilators. Never mind the fact that on the state of Florida Department of Health site, the most people in Florida are going to die on May 4th A month away, folks. So here's New York. Yay, New York. Maybe my mom can have surgery if the curve goes down here. The rest of the country's over here, folks. So this is my another leg down thing is based on the market being forward looking. It looked forward this week because Trump said yay everything and he was the cheerleader. The data don't match what the market is doing. Right? How about Bill Gates this morning on CNBC? Mass gatherings will never return without a global vaccine. This dude, you want to talk about some crazy shit going on with his whole vaccination of people, and this interview was very, very troubling. I'm not even going to get into this guy, but so do you have to get like some infrared tattoo on your arm to be able to go out in public again? I brought this up the other day. Maybe we have the advent of a new digital financial system, complete with a forced vaccine with a nano chip. So all your identities on and what your health is. This is not good. This is not good. But yeah, how do we reopen the country? I briefed you the other day that people are talking about passports, like your papers, please. No, I'm not shitting you. Your papers, please. Like if you haven't been tested, you're not allowed to leave your house. If you have been tested, you have to have documentation so you can go back to work. Holy shit. What? And not you get I'll post it. If not, you get a scarlet letter on your head or an X on your driveway. Folks, wake up, man. Yeah, we'll talk about Apple in a second, guys. I sold that Apple Bear call spread yesterday, and day ain't over. This is why I'm saying I'm not touching anything right now, folks. With remember, a day in the life of a weekly option is a month, man. It's a week. You have no idea what's going to happen this afternoon. Every guy on the phone I talked to this morning who was trading ain't going long into a 3-day weekend when we're supposed to hit peak death in New York City. So, yeah, I did that Apple Bear call. So we'll talk about stay out of the chat box with trades, guys. Let's finish our brief. I'll never forget where I was sitting here, getting the tape on the call, trying to talk to some afterburner guys, and 6.6 million. I can't. It's insanity. The whisper number I heard was up to 10. Again, people in some states you have to call. The website ain't working or it's crashing. I can't. Arthur, trust me, man. I already have a text out to an admiral buddy of mine. Like, can you get my mom on the Comfort? I'll fucking drive in my car up there and put in a hazmat suit and drive my mom and carry her on board the hospital ship Comfort. I thought they were supposed to be being used for non-COVID shit. That was a lie, like I told you. Folks, 6.6 million people out of work. And seconds after that announcement, breaking news, the Federal Reserve is doing shit that they're not allowed to be doing, but they can now because they're under. Jerome Powell is now physically working for Mnuchin. I've never seen anything like this. I'm done using analogies with what the Fed's doing. He can't. They're doing. I get, folks, that now is not the time to talk about paying for all of this. But where's my daughter Keely? She's like in virtual class right now. Hey, Keely, here's $20 trillion in debt that you physically will never be able. So does the Federal Reserve one day, folks, do we turn into Russia? When was it? 91? I'll remember this. Who was it? Boris Yeltsin? I think I was in Leeds Point, New Jersey, like when Russia woke up one day and said, all this massive debt that we owe to people around the world? Yeah, it's fantastic. Well, no, actually it's not. It's at zero. Now it's fantastic. You got any problems with that? I'll put a nuke right through your arse. I told you over the weekend, folks, that one of my buddies, a big this dude's a heavy. He's like, we're kind of throttling back on the loans because we don't kind of believe anymore the full faith and credit of the U.S. government. Holy shit. I mean, latest round of emergency facilities, I got to be honest with you, and talking to a couple of folks, I have to dig into this booger eater shit. This is usually when I call buddies or my sister, or I call people smarter than me. I'm like, what's this do? It's really not, this isn't the problem, folks. Did everybody read this, or I sent this out to the Afterburner folks? You have got to read this. I'm putting this in a chat box, guys. This is a must. It literally maps out what I said 2 weeks ago about this whole thing. It goes through a restaurant owner and their expenses and their employees, and the math in this, folks. Restaurants, I'd say 80 to 90% of restaurants in this country will never open again. And oh, by the way, if they do open again, are we going to look like Wuhan, where you sit in a cubicle? Please read this article, because not only, and this is in the Federalist, folks, this is a conservative write-up. The math, I told you last week, the math doesn't work out for millions upon millions of small businesses in this country. Actually, restaurant owners, if they do what the Fed or what Treasury's proposing, they will go into more debt. They can't. Read this. That is, yeah, Dutch, it was. This is a fantastic article, but it's sad because it goes, I told you, I walked through this earlier in the week or last week, whenever this was. Before this article was written, I said everything in this article I told you last week. When I got the details, I started doing rough math. I started helping my buddies out from my mafia dinner, and I'm like, they didn't believe me. They're like, Wiz, that's not true. That booger eater that you call him, Manchin. I'm like, Mnuchin. And Trump, I'm like, dude, I don't want to be a dick, but you shouldn't do it. This article, you can't do it if you're a business owner, a restaurant owner, and many small businesses. Please read this to get situational awareness as to what's going on. So the Fed, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you've written this down at some point here at Top Gun Options. You can't fight the Fed. You can't be bearish on a guy that's going to say, we're just going to make shit up. Literally, at the end of the day, we might be Zimbabwe. We might be going to get a loaf of bread with a wheelbarrow full of cash. Or actually not cash, because cash is dirty and can carry the virus. We're going to all have our vaccine Microsoft chips in our arm. You think I'm joking? Just how bad is it going to get? JP Morgan halts all non-government guaranteed small business loans. JP Morgan announced they're done. We're not doing, this goes back to the CMB, so the collateralized mortgage-backed security market. Folks, I'm telling you, the next shoe to drop is the mortgage market and these banks. But, and I talked about getting maybe short-term bearish on JP Morgan, but long-term, here's the deal, folks. And we said this for a week and a half, 2 weeks. There's no way on God's green earth the guy on the TV right now is going to let Wall Street fail. All my restaurant buddy business owners that, wait a minute, Wiz, I just did the math. You're right. I'll actually owe $100,000 in a couple months. Yeah. I can't rehire those. I know, dude. Dude, people are getting pissed. And when the alphabet agency known as the Fed comes out with another window of this and that, and they go, what the F does that do for me? And I go, nothing. Wall Street, and I can tell you, I know for a fact, I know several firms, I know several hedge funds that shall remain nameless, and prop shops that were rescued by the Fed through big sounding sentences of, we're allowed to do this. Billionaires, folks, have been bailed out. You haven't seen one press conference. Does everybody know that Capital One got bailed out? Samuel L. Jackson, what's in your wallet? What's in their wallet? Nothing. Why haven't we heard from Jerome Powell about why'd you bail out Capital One? I thought people were too big to fail. Didn't we learn this the last time? You want to talk about civil unrest? You get tens of millions, 50 million restaurant employees who don't get a penny and are still out of work, while Jamie Dimon is cruising around in his Mercedes limo. It's absolute insanity. This is for solo Amazon at 1 o'clock today, but a month ago they all had stable jobs. Now they want to work for Amazon. Amazon warehouses have become a haven of last resort as U.S. economy reels. We'll talk about that at 1 if you want to come. If not, it's for people who couldn't afford to get into full throttle. I'll let them get into solo Amazon, but we got our 50. This unrealistic, inorganic bear market rally faces an April 22nd day of reckoning. This is another Booger Eater one. I want you to read as many Booger Eater articles as you can. Many of you know my story. When I started going from being lowly retail trader, I told you the 3 books I had to read: When Genius Failed, Liar's Poker, and The Myth of the Rational Market. That's the last one you have to read. But the guys running the firm that I went to said you need to read the Wall Street Journal every day. And you know what I did? On the 32-minute train ride in from Naperville to the Board of Trade, I read the Wall Street Journal. I didn't understand 80% of the terms. I read it every day. Then I understood, 50%. That I learned through osmosis. Collateralized debt obligation. Tranche. I loved reading the word tranche. Is it tranche or tranche? You have got to read these type of articles, even if you don't understand it. That doesn't make any sense. It does make sense. Read it again. And then the next time this topic comes up, you read whatever, and you're like, oh, does everybody understand me? I'm trying to teach you all to do this stuff. The myth of the rational market. Where's my book? It's over on the floor. I got all my books over there on the floor. I was going to grab it and show you the title. Let me just Google it. You have to read that, folks. It's the truth. Markets aren't rational. Myth of the rational market. Why am I telling you to read these, guys? Because it gives you SA, situational awareness. You'll see in the long-term capital, or when Genius failed, to see what happened yesterday afternoon. You're going to read about it. You're going to read about this shit and how firms are pushing this stuff around. Yeah, you ready? A history of risk, reward, and delusion on Wall Street. I'm not telling you to read these things for my health. I'm telling you to read these things for your health. Yes, thank you. Looking over someone's shoulder and listening to their thinking is one of the best ways to learn, coming from a teacher. You got it, Christina. Okay. April 22nd is kind of what I have on my calendar, and you can read on here. But we can hang up. This is half the gap. Implosion, half the gap. The Fed has just said we are going to do everything in our power physically, and we're going to even make up some shit, and we're even going to go back to Congress to make up some shit. Right? So, Varouche, you absolutely can compete against the big firms making money. What am I telling you right now? You have you have some probability of making money during these type of times when billion-dollar firms are pushing each other around and trying to bankrupt each other. I'm telling you, Varouche, do not trade the W. If you haven't heard me say that for the past month and a half, you're Helen Keller. Easiest money in the world, second easiest money in the world. Folks, who couldn't make money in the fall? I'll never forget that the third and fourth quarters, you guys, whoever was here at Top Gun Options, I'm like, that was my best trading in 28 years. And then the world ended, and that was my best trading in 28 years. This sucks. We'll see how the day ends, but I got like 3 losing trades right now, which I have zero problem with because losing trades happen. I'm telling people like you, Varouche, I've said it 1,000 times, do not trade in here at all. Get smart, watch, read the books I've told you to read, and wait for direction. Period. Do not trade this market. If you do, then expect losses. Expect profits, expect losses. Jim, I couldn't agree more. My Warren Buffett, where's Warren indicator is blink. Dude, this guy ain't dumb. You think he's stepping into this market right now? The answer is no. The man knows what's coming, folks. Could I not? Somebody tell me up here where I briefed what the bearish case is. The only bearish case that we have is this guy. So not only is what's his name, Fred Sanford dead, we're like burning the guy's body. This is the big one because this guy keeps throwing everything he has at the markets, and he's not going to stop people from dying. He's not going to stop people from or start people flying on airliners. Folks, I just saw, what is it, airlines cut until the fall. Airlines cut summer flights up to 90%. I had to explain to somebody who isn't that bright yesterday. Well, Wiz, like restaurants, if restaurants open again, we'll just sit, in these cubicles. You've seen restaurants in Wuhan, right? I've showed you guys these videos. You want to go sit, and they show employees like taking their lunch break in the break room. They're all like sitting at school desks with big cardboard things around them. You can't even see whoever else you're around. It's medieval. But here, so people are like, well, on airliners, there won't be a middle seat. I'm like, are you retarded? Whose air do you think you're breathing up at 38,000 feet? It's recycled air, folks. So if the guy in 1D drinking his Bloody Mary through his mask coughs, it's going back to 24E. Does everybody understand how the air circulation system works on an airliner? Kind of like a cruise ship, although there's more fresh air on a cruise ship. There ain't no fresh air on an airliner, folks. The captain ain't cracking open his window in the cockpit. Right? So the Federal Reserve printing money and just keeping people in business, is that going to work? And by the way, my buddy on the Hill, he's been quiet lately, man. Because things are getting bad on the Hill. Republicans, so Pelosi warns next small business stimulus bill won't pass if Democrats don't get everything they want. You think that human piece of feces would have learned last time about the Kennedy Center and this and the arts and we want Green New Deal shit, and the way America reacted? You think she changed? No, she actually said, no. This time we're going to die on that hill. Anybody here today? Right? We're supposed to get this. Mitch McConnell was supposed to. We nailed that one too, didn't we, folks? People are like, oh, it's going to get passed today, Wiz. I'm like, my buddy up in Washington says maybe Wednesday, probably Friday. Everybody remember that? We nailed it to the day. Tuesday. Let's go. It's today, Wiz. I just heard Pelosi say it. I'm like, nope. It was Friday, just as we said. Pfizer. Pfizer identifies lead corona drug candidate. What's PFE doing today? PFE. So the only thing, so we'll get tactical here in a second, but I mean the only thing, that's Apple. The only thing, PFE, that you might be looking at getting long would be these biotech names: Moderna, Regeneron, Gilead. How's Moderna doing? That's hanging up there. Was it Regen? Regen? No. REG. What is it? Yeah, duh. Yeah. Senate Dems have blocked McConnell's attempt to pass aided aid bill this morning. Oh, I'm shocked. I'm shocked at the people who said, hey, McConnell's going to pass a stimulus package before the long weekend. We nailed that too, didn't we, folks? But it doesn't matter. I mean, the day ain't over yet, but ladies and gentlemen, this is a Fed. I've never in my life seen another six. What's that? What's the total, folks? What are we at? 16 million people. What's the total? It's staggering. Oh my God, look at that chart. So here's another good picture. Oh, well, and here's what Mark posted over in the Afterburner thread. Look at that. This is 1929, folks. Anybody in here been alive for that? Look at the implosion it had. This and then a little rally there. And then look at the climb up, 50%. Look, it got 50% of the way back and did that over the next 6 months. I mean, these things happen in markets like this, folks. Where's the other one? The market. Where's my market cycles thing? Hang on, because this is a good one. Sentiment cycle. Showed some of you guys this one yesterday. Look at that one. Yeah, Mike, the 1929 chart, it took them 2 years. Did I brief you this week? Morgan, I got so much shit all over. I got 2 computers over this house with, I got to link these up somehow. Talk about booger eaters. But I got a Morgan Stanley report that said the market will not, quote, return to normal for a year. I don't know where, I didn't even get through most of that article. I'm like, I don't know how they're figuring that out. I don't know. But this is, we're I got to be honest with you. I think we're kind of climbing this over here, right? There's a wall of worry, and I don't think we've even hit this wall of. I don't even think we've hit that wall. All right. So I got a Disney on, that's bad. I got an Apple on that, I don't know. We'll see how Apple ends the day here. Remember, the day ain't over. This is why if I'm in a bearish trade, folks, I don't close it. If it's puts. If it's a spread and it hits my eject, yeah, I might thinking about closing it. The other day, was it Monday in weekly options? I said, yeah, well, hold on. What's that? What's the number, guys? What's the total number? And here, I mean, this is just insanity. Let's look at what was forecast. There you go. Oh, and oh, Jesus God. And last month's was revised down, or last week's, I'm sorry, was revised down. They were looking for 5 million and got 6.6 million. Wow. Yeah, Blake. Yeah, the 1929 chart again. Let me blow it up a little bit. So if you want to take a picture, it'll last longer. So take a little. I think you have to be out of full screen mode for the little camera icon to show up. Saudis and Russia reached deal on deep oil output cuts. Wow, crude's up 10%. So this is, past, this ain't 1929, but market participants who can't use their brain end up looking towards the left side of a chart for to try and put it into today's mindset, right? So, it's, yeah, let's just round up and say 17 million Americans are out of work. I think that's on the low side. Steve Mnuchin is on his worst day a couple weeks ago said maybe 40 million Americans out of work. We're halfway there, and we are living on a prayer. Bon Jovi. So this is, I mean, it's insanity. So, all right. So Apple, I'm going to hang it. Grub, I can't. I mean, Grub just completely has departed reality. Bad trade on Grub. Up another 6% today. This is a short squeeze. Got absolutely squeezed out of that trade, and a bad trade on me. Not that it's going to make any feel better if you lost some money in this trade, but Jim Chanos, one of the biggest short investors in the world, last week said he's going to pound Grub into the dirt. This is what happens, folks. This is why you really don't hear from people who are short too much in the markets, like what's his name, Bill Ackman, because when you announce your shorts, people who hate you call other people who hate you, and they can force you out. This makes 0 sense. When something doesn't make any sense, I am wrong, not it. So Jay, absolutely blown out of grub, and I'm not going. I'm not going to touch it. You absolutely, um, you absolutely could get some new puts. I told the afterburner folks. I said at the high of the days today, I'm going to add to my. I'm going to add to some bearish positions. I'm moving. So guys, here's my announcement. I'm moving to 75% cash after I managed my trades this afternoon. The other 25%, I'm going to add bearish puts, kind of just disaster puts on some of these names. Things that have, this makes zero sense, right? My commit criteria for getting bearish on Grub, first of all, I've never added a sentence where that it says one of the biggest bearish hedge fund managers in the world is bearish on this name. So I added that. So that made my commit criteria stronger, right? But when you have a Wall Street Journal article that says restaurant owners, if they're still in business, so what happens, folks, when tens of millions of restaurants don't come back? You think Grub is a screaming buy here? It makes no sense. So losing trade on Grub, but I'll take those losing trades, guys. I will absolutely take those losing trades. We have a hell of a lot more winners, but I'll take a losing trade that's an unknown, right? So this morning was a Rumsfeld move out of the Fed. I didn't know that was happening. I got some buddies. Nobody on the call I knew said, "Holy shit, they're pretty good." You got to give it to the Fed, man. That nobody I knew. If I knew that was coming, folks, you would have been the second. You guys would have been the third to know. The afterburner guys would have been the second to know, and I would have bought in S&P 500 calls with both hands today at the open, or actually last night at the close. You see where the couple firms got wiped out? I would have gotten bullish on the S&P 500. I didn't know that the Fed was doing this today. So when you get blown out, when you're flying in your fighter jet and all of a sudden, bam, you get hit with a missile that your radar warning receiver didn't warn you about, the intelligence didn't, that was your day. So I've had a couple that was your days in a couple trades this week. Easily. Exactly, Ron. Grub is only down 2% for the year. That makes no sense. So I would yeah, guys. I like what I'm seeing in the chat box. I would stop being tactical. If you believe this is going to happen, which I do, I'm going to go out a couple weeks, next Friday or the next Friday. So it's funny to hear stupid people talk like, well, I'm hearing that we might not retest the lows. What do you think about that? Who in the world is going to buy stocks right here where we filled this gap? The Fed. So here's what's going to happen, folks. Don't do that today. It's like, buying stocks here and selling them there. You'll be completely out of cycle with what's going on. Do not, you can do whatever you want. There is no way on God's green earth today I'm doing anything bullish. Why? Folks, the Fed already announced this. That's why the Dow being only up 500 right now is interesting. We might have one of those 1,000-point swings. Nobody I talked to for this week was like, dude, Thursday's going to be a bloodbath. Why? Markets close tomorrow for Good Friday. New York City's supposed to hit peak deaths over the weekend. You want to be long going into this weekend? Welcome to the world of politics, the market, and the Fed. The Fed came in within 0.03 seconds of the worst weekly jobless claims in the history of this republic before a long weekend. Listen to me, folks. The Fed so let's cover this real quick. When stocks or the market gaps on a news event, should you buy? No. The news already came out, guys. So this morning when the news came out that the Fed did that, what are they going to do? Come out tomorrow morning and go, hey, did you not hear what I said yesterday? Or are they going to come out on Sunday and say, well, yeah, don't you remember on Friday we did this? The news is already out. The move already happened. That's why people crack me up when breaking news, Lululemon just got bought out by somebody. Oh my God, that's great news. I'm like, I'm selling into it right here. What? But didn't you hear they got bought out? And next day fills the gap. Does everybody understand that? Once, you ready for this blinding piece of brilliance? Once something is known, it's known. It's not going to be known again. Exactly. Buy the rumor, sell the news. And I got to be honest with you, the Dow coming off even a little bit more right now on the breaking news that oil, that they are going to raise prices a little bit. So now we're in really bizarro world where people are going to ask the president, like, or if they were smart reporters, which they're not, would go, well, Mr. President, oil just went up. So you saying everybody can fill their cars up for cheap just went away. Now it's a tax. Now you just increased taxes, right? You called it a tax cut. Wow, isn't this insane? So, well, exactly. Whoever just said that, we're going into the holiest week for Christians around the world, and we're supposed to hit peak death in the United States. It isn't peak death for the United States, folks. It's peak death for New York City. Yay, New York City, and you guys getting through it. Do you want to be the last person killed in New York City? The tail of the curve has lies in it, man. I cannot believe my two friends, this poor girl. My God. Talked to her like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, just before. And I told her, she's like, oh, my parents are flying up from Fortaleza in Brazil to visit for a month. I'm like, what do you do? I'm like, yeah, how's the COVID down there? The president says it's fine. I'm like, oh my God. She's got a dead father in a funeral home, I think, or maybe I don't even know. She's like, I don't know where my father's body is. Imagine talking to somebody like that. Oh, God, it's heartbreaking. They don't have two pennies to rub together. They took I haven't seen their daughter in like a year, and they spent their life savings to come up and visit, and now he's dead in America, and the mom ain't exactly super healthy. So again, other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play? So the news is out there, folks. The news that the Fed, and I always admit when I'm wrong. I've been wrong about the Fed. Every time I'm like, holy crap! Now they're out of ammo. They go to the ammo factory. They don't go to like their ammo storage. Their ammo storage is empty. They've literally gone to the Springfield Armory, and Jerome Powell's in there with a hammer, like Bugs Bunny, building bombs. Now, Rick Santelli had one of his classic Rick Santelli rants today, and he's right. And I'm not going to do that either, folks. I'm not going to sit here and be that guy that goes, what about deficit spending? Dude, we got to get the F back to work. This country didn't listen to me, and the president didn't listen to me here, where we could have shut it down for 2 weeks. And we'd be open by now. We would have killed the virus. I'm not a virologist, but I am going to play one on TV. You starve it. We're not doing that. Okay. And it's a hoax. Oh, super. Deep state. They're trying to, I'm the best ever. They're just trying to bring me down. You're an idiot. And did anybody see what's starting to leak out here? What is leaked? Well, never ever. I will go to the grave with names of friends and intelligence sources because I'm a man of honor, and when I swear. So Peter Navarro, ladies and gentlemen, is a businessman. Pretty good businessman too. Peter Navarro, at the beginning of this thing, yeah, I'll tell you all this. So Peter Navarro at the beginning of this thing, folks, he's a businessman. I know a lot of businessmen and women. And I know a lot of dudes and ladies in uniform and all over the place. The president got briefed on all this, but Peter Navarro, folks, got briefed on all of this, and you could not be a bigger Trump supporter than Peter Navarro. I mean, the guy literally, when you see him on TV, he's wearing a coat and tie, but he's wearing like bloomers. He's wearing a cheerleading skirt out of the camera. He listened to what was going on by very smart people in this country. And he decided, I'm not saying this was a cover your ass move. I'm saying this was a cover your Trump move. Peter Navarro sat down and wrote a memo to the president. Like, hey, man, I know you're kind of busy. And, we're freaking fantastic. But I'm really super kind of worried about this thing in China and it coming here, and we could get wiped out economically. Are you starting to see this? Everybody kind of paying attention? Are you awake? Not telling you now that I'm just talking. I'm not talking grub. I'm talking in general, guys. You got to listen to me. Now that people are on TV are talking about it, I'm definitely allowed to talk about it. Because I'm sick of people. I've already booted half of them on my Facebook page. Like, how the hell do you know what the president got briefed? I'm like, you either trust me or you don't. Now I can tell you that I absolutely know that the president got briefed as a fact, because the media are starting to catch wind that Peter Navarro, the biggest cheerleader of Donald Trump, warned the dude, like, hey, man, this ain't no deep state bullshit. This is going to be bad. We need to do something. And the president didn't. I don't care what he said yesterday in his rambling press conference about, I acted. I saw the memo around the same time. He's a liar. He's lying. We'll debrief this after. But if Adam Schiff and Nancy decide to get a hair up their ass and start doing something now and start digging, I'm not going to use the I word or anything like that, but it is not going to be flattering for this president. That you guys remember what happened around 9/11, right? You remember that. I mean, George Bush, good dude. You can have a beer with him. Couldn't stand him. George Bush, during one of his morning intelligence briefs, the guy gets a phone book size morning intelligence brief from the CIA, on page like 98 of one of those briefs was, you know what? They might use airliners to fly in the buildings. And then Democrats for years tarred that guy with that. Like, even though, what was he on the job 6 months? Even though those people, the FBI was warned by dudes here in Florida, like, I got a bunch of Arab dudes just like wanting to fly the simulator. They don't want to learn how to take off and land, just like how to turn off the squawk and to use the autopilot. Yeah, okay, whatever, dude. But I'm listening as I'm cleaning a rifle. But what am I telling you, folks, is that if the media gets a little bit more into this, and you saw it yesterday, it's starting to pick up steam. You could see it in the day before his press conference because it just kind of came out. And then yesterday it was a little bit more. This will pick up steam. And I told you there. I knew here. And the president was briefed around this time. And then in Davos, when he sat there and said what he said, you're going to put that on my tombstone, man. I looked at you guys. We were in accelerated retirement. I'm like, Jesus Christ, he's lying. Davos. I believe Xi. Why are you wasting my time, Joe? What a stupid question. I'm huge. I'm great. Fantastic. Believe me. I said, oh my God, everybody. And then we had a full throttle here and I said, get out and let's pound the shit out of it. Again, easiest money ever. This sucks. Stop. Don't do anything. Get into cash and watch. Let's talk about the puts, though, because if you do believe implosion, bounce, and we're at half, and we are going to go lower, I would be looking at puts. We have to get, but again, you can't, I'm torn between telling you what I'm doing. I am doing this, period. In my personal accounts that I get to by the end of the day, which sucked recently. Again, I trust me, folks. I got skin in this game too, and this week was not good. Day ain't over yet, but this I'm telling you what I'm doing, not telling you what you should be doing. I mean, folks, this is trading. This is not. People say market's rolling over. We could be up 3,000 points into the close. Picking market direction on a tactical basis has been kind of lethal. But let's go look at this. Where would be Just give me your poor man's technical analysis. If you wanted to get bearish on the S&P 500, like we're not going to we're not going to retest the the March lows. Where would we retest, if you think? There's two areas on this chart. I like some of the answers. The first would be here. 1, 2, 3, 4. We had a quadruple top, which every time I've ever seen in my life is the most bearish signal ever. And when we went through it right here, it was a short squeeze. Wiz says it takes 2 to 3 days for short squeezes to end. And it was ending, and there's the Fed jumping into the pool and emptying out the water. Holy crap. So the first area to potentially retest would be 2,600. Buying those puts, probably a little bit more expensive. Why? Because it's realistic. Now I like also the rest of the answers in the chat box, because half of you said what? 2,500. I agree with that one too. So these would be the two areas I would buy puts. These are probably a hell of a lot cheaper than the 2,600s. Duh. Welcome to Options 101. Does that make sense? Yeah, if you're a Fibonacci type of person, yeah. Yeah, the whole wave 5, 3, whatever. I mean, I think I actually had that stuff drawn on here. Where is it? Yeah, let me clear it. Yeah, there you go. I mean, look, I've left this stuff on here from me just kind of doing my own work here. I'll move that one up to like 20, 25. Yeah, well, I should get rid of that one. Stop. I'm adding lines all over the place, whatever. I mean, you can, and you know what? I posted that late last night. My apologies. Somebody's like, dude, where's the E-Trade replay? Sorry about that. FT replay. Yeah, it's on here. Why am I bringing that up? Because of the Fibonacci. There's some great charting shit on here. Wiz, you MF charting? I do, except for this stuff, folks. A tactical market. It's all swing trading. I can't stand it. That's why I am going to go for a run today and work out and play in the pool with the kids, because I don't day trade crap. I can do it, and I might suck at it. So I don't like doing things I suck at. Go.topgunoptions.com/FT replay. It's right there. Yeah, same thing would be the on the rut, right? Maryland, my EWZ and Grub spreads are at max. It seems it would make sense to leave them. I don't touch them, Maryland. You can close them if you want to avoid maybe getting assigned. But the reason you haven't been assigned yet, most likely, is what? It's 11:03 in the morning, folks. Anything can happen going into the close. There's a big sell order right there, and the market, where do we open today? 27.75. So we open at 27.75, we hit it twice, and if we break 27.75 here with some airspeed, yeah, guys, I've been in a losing trade at 3:42 in the afternoon, and by 3:59 it's at max profit. So I rarely, and that's only when my commit criteria are sound, folks. If my commit criteria are sound, I don't eject. You have to learn this discipline. When I place puts on, 99.9% of the time, I don't close them. The 0.1% of the time I do, it's when they hit their profit target, right? So Maryland, I can't tell you what to do. I haven't closed any of my bearish spreads out. I've seen days like, folks, where were you the other day when at one point the Dow was up 972 points? And as the day went on, the air completely blew out of the market to be down. The Dow closed down 26 points. It was almost 1,000-point swing in the Dow. So I said it 9 times. Here's number 10, and we can all take a shot. Do not do anything in here, man. If you're throwing trades on because you're desperate to make money, you're going to lose money. That's a fact. Desperate trading will wipe you out. You're better to sit in cash and wait for direction. Whether it's this direction or that direction, wait for confirmation. I've already told you out here, whatever X, I've given you 5 things that X might be for buy signals. I'm going to wait 2, 3, 4 days. I have no problem missing on that much money or move to confirm that that is in fact happening. Well, yeah, I called it here, and okay, so you made an extra 10% more than me? Great, you're buying me dinner. I don't care, so I'm going to wait for confirmation. So do not be doing anything in here, folks. I'm warning you. I'm not warning you. I've warned you 1,000 times. Easiest money, W, second easiest money out here. For all of you that are new, you should be doing nothing other than paper trading and watching the training videos and the manuals. That's it. If you are throwing desperation trades on, you're going to lose every penny. Exactly, Rob. Yeah, I remember that. The week of March 23rd, the Amazon call spread went from max loss to max gain in the last 30 minutes. That's exactly right. So, how far out, guys? These things. What is this? There's March 23rd, and we're on April 9th today. These things are being violent. So, I don't want to be macabre, but it's trying to hold right there. Look at that. I don't want to be macabre, but if New York hits peak death on Easter, do we get a Donald Trump Monday press conference that says the Lord is risen and we're through this thing? And I'm sitting here down in Florida going, we're going to peak in 3 weeks, dude. This really is going to bifurcate the United States of America. Detroit is getting destroyed. You barely hear about them on the news. It's all Andrew Cuomo all day, all the time, because the Democrats want him that senile dude sitting in his basement, Joe Biden. So, long answers to your very short question is I'd go out 2 weeks. I'd go out to not this Friday, the following Friday for S&P 500 puts. Whoever asked about the Russell, I think the Russell is going to have a more outsized move to the downside. 2,000 businesses, folks. I don't care what the Federal Reserve just announced. Where would the Russell be? This would be the first set of puts I'd buy, 1070. This would be I had these on before. They went out worthless. I don't care. 1,000 on the Russell. I'm telling you, man, my spidey sense is, you can grab one of these Fibonacci things and pull it on. There's neat stuff you can be doing. This ain't me, but you can Fibonacci the hell out of this and look at stuff. But let me wrap with this, because I gotta get ready for solo Amazon here and go get some lunch and step away from looking at this. Is this: if you believe that I'm wrong, and I absolutely can be wrong, start buying calls. Buy calls on JP Morgan, CSX. If we get an infrastructure, if they do a phase 4 and they do some infrastructure shit, buy CSX with both hands. Right? Paul, it's we're doing annuals. We're doing. I'll give you the link here in a couple minutes. It's $897 for a year. I'll hook you up in a second. But get bullish, folks. If you have a ton of bearish trades on right now, you know what the hedge is? Buy some upside calls. Right? So that's what I'd be doing. The typical short-term cycle is 20 days, so it brings you to April 20th, close enough to that April 22nd date in the article. You bet, Joe. Steve, I agree with the way you wrote that. Fibonacci's have no magic. There's just enough people following it that it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. That's exactly right. So the only reason I bring up the fib crap, because I think it is crap, is because in times like this, when there's no fundamentals, people search for. How do I trade, folks? Fundamental, some TA, and some volatility. Fundamentals don't exist anymore. Volatility is insane. So the only thing left is what? Some booger eaters who draw, all these retracements on here, and there's enough people following it where it can. That's a great way to write that, man. I couldn't agree more. You nailed it. Yeah, the link to the Federalist article is, guys, read this Federalist article. You don't understand what's going on if you don't read this article. Whoops. It's I think Steve Mnuchin is trying his best. He's busting his ass, folks. Everything's in the chat box. Everybody see the links in the chat box. I mean, my God, man, I wouldn't wish that job on anybody. But what's coming up next week, folks? There's no P. There's no in the price to earnings thing, guys. There's no earnings. I mean, companies have literally suspended forward guidance. I've never seen anything like this. We're gonna. How do you have an earnings call when you don't have any earnings? So this is another reason that Uncle Jerome jumped in this week. He jumped in within 0.02 seconds of 6.3 million people being on the streets. Think about that, guys. 17 million Americans are out of work. I think it's 20. They're not paying their rent or their mortgage. And here comes Jerome and the week before earnings. At this point, did you here's the solo link. Did you hear Jerome that wasn't it was Mnuchin or Kramer this morning. So, Mr. Secretary, you guys, are you going to go get authority for the Fed to start buying stocks? Did you hear that bullshit? Did you hear that? The Federal Reserve of the United States is going to jump in and start buying. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Pope of the United States financial system just said that hell doesn't exist. You heard me in 2008 at the Options News Network. I said, let it burn or we're going to destroy our country. You don't know what you're talking about. Ha ha ha. Yes, I do, and I've been right. This will destroy our country. You think the people in New York City who get 90 days rent forgiveness are going to start paying rent at day 91? Are you nuts? This everybody gets a trophy society is going to destroy this country. Exactly, Mike. The Fed is buying stocks with money that is fake. Do you not understand that the government of the United States doesn't have one penny to its name? The only penny that they have to their name is from me and you. They are a referee of money. So the Federal Reserve, ladies and gentlemen, is going to sit in the Federal Reserve building in Washington, plug in their HP printers, go to Costco to get more ink, and go to India or wherever we get our top secret dollar paper from and just make it up. I've never seen anything like this. Oh, Nestor, don't even talk to me about taxes and what's going to happen. We were having a good chat on the Afterburner thread this morning about state and local defaults. What's going to happen to all these pension funds, folks? These state pension funds. These idiots that run these pension funds. Well, our annualized return is projected on a rate of 8%. Are you stupid? I think the best year in 20 years, like CalPERS did, was like 2%, but they do their projections on 8. So do you think Donald J. Trump is not going to bail out the states or counties? Well, he can't, Wiz. We're bankrupt. Ladies and gentlemen, if we don't bail out, you ready for this? I'll leave on a low note. If we don't bail out the pension funds, do you think your trash is going to be picked up? Cops are going to show up to work. Teachers are going to show up to work. Firemen are going to show up to work. State employees. What if they all say, you know what? If the federal government doesn't bail out my pension plan, well, I'm fine with it. I got guns and I'll go throw my trash on somebody with a Bernie Sanders sign on their lawn. I'm fine. But we will have civil unrest. I am getting ready to, folks, this is, Apple's getting ready to go through the, what it opened, actually it opened up here. So there you go on Apple. So yay, I got a bear call spread. That's day ain't over yet, folks. I'm going to go grab something to eat. I need to go hang out with the family and go. But yeah, folks, when you can create money with a keystroke, we're in for a lot of trouble. Yeah, it's right here. Solo annual. We're going to do it at 1:00. And we'll talk about Amazon in there and what's going on. Did you see Jeff Bezos today? He finally, you're welcome. Yeah, it was an interesting week, man. Holy shit. This is not for the faint of heart. And I hate this, man. I hate doing this type of stuff, folks. This is why I'm telling you, uh, you know, it's not worth trading in here. Don't trade. I never envisioned this for Top Gun options. I remember when accelerated retirement, we do trades 30 days out and 2 years out, right? So, okay. Yeah, the solo Amazon session is open to everybody today, but you obviously have to be a member going forward. It's the full throttle link. Yeah, here's the link to show up, but because we close, it's so. And Susie's actually refunded some people who were mouthing off to her. People do the whole, hey, where's my, I need a slot. I'm like, we already have our 50. And they're like, I'm like, okay, well, delete him. Where the hell is this? Use the link from the Full Throttle week to get in there. It's this one. Look at that shit. 2,600 people registered to attend this week. You think there's some panic? And it's funny because I was sitting here. I was sitting here like, where you been? Our third and fourth quarter last year, I thought I was on fire. Yeah. So there's the link, guys. All right, folks. I gotta go. I'm gonna get some chow, and then I'm gonna go. I'll see if you want to come in a solo Amazon. And then I gave you the. I'm trying, Dave. I'm putting the ladder down. But if people are going to be a drag on this jet, I just get rid of them. Got an error chart? Yeah, of course, Paul. Just shoot support an email. Don't hit the submit button more than once, man. When you click pay with people that click like 10 times, crack me up. Kinch, the phone number to listen is when you register. I got to go. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you in solo Amazon in a little bit. God bless.